You're a genius.
And I think that's a bit like analysing Trump.
You're a genius. Did you do that from memory? About humanity, and you've just absolutely smashed that truth. We're all sitting here.
That was this fantastic LBC caller, John's take on Trump. Absolute genius. Now, during yesterday's James O'Brien's LBC show, where James was talking about, the madness that's happening across the pond, when John brought his genius and then just absolutely smashed it out of the park.
I've known a few people like him, but they've never won a popularity contest that has thrusted them into the most important job.
Well, that's why he's unique in a way, isn't it? Because enough people are persuaded that he is all the things he says that he is.
But he is, because people have allowed him to be, but he's got no talent. He doesn't seem to be particularly smart. I just think he's an idiot. And every time I hear. Every time he makes this, it was 2 weeks ago. Sorry, I'm jumping. I'm doing a Trump. I'm jumping from one thing.
What does he call it?
The weave.
The weave. Yeah, go on. You weave away, John. I've done a bit of weaving this morning. You fill your boots.
The largest security breach in the history of the United States was 2 weeks ago. We've not even mentioned it today. That's insane. What I think when I think about Trump, if you'd allow me to, I can't quote literature from 100 years ago, but from Red Dwarf.
Yes, go on.
The time drive was frozen. Rimmer asks,
do you think it's because the subspace conduits have locked with the transponder calibrations and caused a major tachyon surge that has overloaded the time matrix?
No, sir. I've just been jabbing it too hard.
You're a genius.
And I think that's a bit like analysing Trump.
You're a genius. Did you do that from memory?
No.
You've got it written down in front of you.
It's not Mystery Hour. I googled it.
Yeah, you are allowed to Google when we're not in Mystery Hour. I'd be lost with that. Do that again, will you? Just do that again slowly, so that I can sort of clip it up later.
The time drive had frozen, and Rimmer asks, do you think it's because the subspace conduits have locked with the transponder calibrations and caused a major tachyon surge that has overloaded the time matrix? Crichton replies, no, sir. It's just you've been jabbing it too hard.
So we're stroking our chins, and it is just the case of petty, simplistic.
He's just an idiot. He'll be on to the next thing in 2 weeks, and people won't be talking about the time.
Yeah, but that's why he's also a genius. That's why he's also a genius, because no one else can do this. No one else can do this. Whatever you want to call it.
People could do it, but they'd have to have no soul.
Yeah.
No care for anyone. No care for the person who's just retired, and they're looking at they're weighing up their options for their pension, how they're going to live the rest of their life, and they've just, I don't know, they've got a few £100,000. Now they've got less.
Yeah.
He don't care.
He doesn't, does he? He doesn't care.
The veterans that he's laid off.
Yeah. Doesn't care. The people nothing matters. Nothing but except what? Except what? What matters to him?
That he's the man.
Is that it?
That people are bowing down to.
Everyone's looking at me. Everyone's bending the knee. Everyone's talking about me. I want to be the biggest reality television show of all time is what I want to be.
World leaders and kings are coming to me wanting good tariff deals. That's what he wants. He wants a third state visit. I don't know.
So you brought... that is one of my favourite contributions to the programme in a very long time, John. And I'm just going to spoil it slightly by saying there is no need to say I'm not quoting literature from 100 years ago. It's Doug Naylor, isn't it? And Rob, I forget the name of the second writer, which is bad of me because I've met him. But really good art, whether it's a television comedy or whether it's a Shakespeare play, tells us truths about humanity, and you've just absolutely smashed that truth. We're all sitting here wondering whether it's the subspace conduits or whatever it was, and it is just the case that we're watching a bull in a china shop. We're watching a toddler having a massive tantrum. There's still another dimension to it, which is how he gets away with it and why he is so, quotes, good at it.
Well, you can't end the show there. You've got to carry on, James.
Well, you see, you're doing it all now. You're producing me as well. And the other thing you've done when you talked about a soul is, should we be talking about priests, doctors and priests, or clerics, rabbis, imams, rather than economists and analysts or holodecks? Or there's that Star Trek or Red Dwarf. John, mate, absolute top of the class today. That is it. I'm almost going to have to get that printed out so I can read it back myself. But that simple imagery of people sitting around stroking their chins, as opposed to choking their shins, which I nearly said. Stroking their chins, trying to work it out. And maybe that is hey, come here a minute. Maybe that is part of the answer to the question of how he gets away with it. Because we're still sitting there trying to work out how on earth he got away with the security breach, and he's just introduced tariffs. And you can sit there and stroke your chin and say, I think you'll find he's only introduced the tariffs to distract attention away from the security breach. But that's not true. The answer to how both things happened will be the same. And it is probably not very complicated.
Wasn't he fantastic? Oh, I absolutely adore these sorts of calls, especially the Red Dwarf analogy. Thought it was just brilliant. Especially when he spoke about anyone can do these sorts of things, but they have to have no soul and not really care about anybody else. And for me, that was just a penny drop moment for me. I could never do anything that what Trump is doing, because I know I'd just never be able to forgive myself if any of my actions, destroyed people's pensions, threw veterans on the unemployment scrap heap, so to speak, and, destroyed people's futures. Also, when James O'Brien spoke about how he basically overcomplicating all this and, as he said, stroking our chins a little bit too much. And maybe the answer is just more simpler than what we think it is. And he's just a clown, and he himself and the lunatics are just running the asylum now. Who knows? But what do you guys think? Let me know down below. If you enjoy everything, House of Commons, Select Committee meetings, please give us a like and subscribe, and I shall just bid you farewell and take care, my friends.